What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be doing an interesting video. We're going to be looking at how to build the best squad at any budget in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. Well, I'm releasing this video today, 22nd of December, and you guys can see the Christmas music has gone down a little bit. The reason why the Christmas music has gone down a wee bit is because this is mainly a video that is going to be something that'll stand the test of time for the year. I make a lot of videos around this time. I'm probably going to make a couple after Christmas, but I make a lot of videos around this time because there are a lot of new players that pick this game up throughout the year. Christmas is really the first major time. A few people at Thanksgiving, but it's the first major time people are picking up the game. And I want videos like this to be there for when these guys are looking, because I don't make this specific video at the start of the year, even though I will say, I do have to admit, I essentially say very similar things every year, because while the metas change, the general gist of the most effective way to play is kind of the same, the most effective types of cards to use. So this is going to be using this is going to be how to make the most effective team at any budget in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. So, first things first. If your budget is infinite, if you have the best cards in the game, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. Look, whatever the hell the highest tier is, and if it's a stage where there aren't that many pink diamonds, just go and buy a bunch of pink diamonds, and you'll be fine. Even the bad ones, you'll be fine. And later, if you're looking at this in like October, if you're looking at this when opals are a thing or when dark matters are a thing, when there's like 100 dark matters at the end of the year, honestly, just look at, actually, you know what, just do this. Just see what cards are going for a lot of MT. Simple as. Minimum bid, 100k. If you have infinite MT, if you have millions to spend, just go 100k. This is where you see all the good players. See what players are going for a lot of MT, and you're just in general are going to be okay. Like if you go out with, even knowing nothing about this game, you go out with D-Rob's 121k. How low is the market right now? If you go out with D-Rob, KD, Kobe, Magic Johnson, Dr. J, heck, even Steph Curry, Tim Duncan, Dominique, heck, maybe even AD. If you go out with these guys, Jimmy Butler, you're gonna be fine. Are they the best cards in the world? Not really. Like, well, some of them are, some of them aren't. How many extra half badges does this Jamal Crawford have? But some of them are great. Then Giannis. So if you have infinite MT, just honestly do that. You don't even need to watch these videos. Constantly get the best new cards coming out in packs. But this is more so for people that don't have infinite MT. So for reference point, this is the squad that I am running with right now. I like the squad. Don't absolutely love it, but I'm happy with my team. So, point guards. So I'm gonna just say best. So, what you have to do, point guard and two guard and small forward. 2 of the 3 of these guys have to be good defenders. You don't need preferably all 3. 2 of the 3 have to be good defenders. You can get away with one primary offensive option, which a lot of people run. Like, for example, if you want to run an Iverson, if you have an Iverson, if you want to run a Damian Lillard, because Damian Lillard's easy to get. Like, again, if you get this game at Christmas, you can very easily win 50 clutch time games is like 6 hours worth of wins. So let's say you win 30% of your games. Actually, no, you need to win higher than 30% because of the fact that if you lose 3 in a row, you get reset. But let's just say at most, it's like 12, 15 hours. And if you get the game on Christmas and you bang out a couple of hours in your first day of playing the game, and you bang out a couple of hours over that break, by the time Season 4 comes, you should have Dame. If you really want to run an offensive option, Dame, in my opinion, is the best. Other guys that are okay as offensive options are I don't even know. I don't even own any of them. But the likes of Ja, if you have Ja already, you can use Steve Francis if you have him. Heck, even honestly, like CP3 and Bob Cousy aren't awful. But preferably, for me anyway, I like to run more of a defensive point guard. So I like my Gary Paytons. The guy that I'm running is Marcus Smart. You can run Eric Snow as well. If you want a defensive point guard, Eric Snow is perfect. But the stats that you are going to be looking for. So one of the most important things you can learn when making a MyTEAM, I can't believe this isn't the first thing that I mentioned. One of the most important things is this website right here. It is this website right here, and it's called 2KDB. So basically, this is where you can see everything in MyTEAM. This is where database where you can see all of the animations. So basically, this is where you'll learn more from this site about how to build your team than anywhere else. So for example, if you're playing the game, and I don't know, you're just playing in regular rosters, you're looking to play MyTEAM, and you really enjoy shooting with, I don't know, screw it, collections, NBA 2K21 Series 1, golds, let me just pick a random gold. Wiggins, you really like shooting for some reason with Andrew Wiggins. And you're like, oh, I want a player that shoots the ball very similar to Wiggins. So you go, okay, base 22, and there's all of these cards to choose from. You like the way a certain player dribbles. For example, if you really like the way Zach LaVine dribbles and you've been using Zach LaVine in regular rosters, you then see quick dribble style and you find all these players that dribble the same way. So in terms of dribble style, there are 2 dribble styles that you kind of need on your primary ball handler. These are not necessary, but they are quick, shifty, or a lot of the time with certain players, it's hard to tell if they have their own dribble style. So like a Kobe dribble style is like shifty. I think Iverson is like quick. So it's kind of a tough one when they have their own dribble style. But if you see quick or shifty in a dribble style, just know that they are the two best. They are the 2 best ones right there. So yeah, if you want your primary ball handler, they should have quick or shifty. So if you're going for a purely offensive option, they need one of those ball handles. So for example, a lot of people kind of make the mistake of when they're going for the point guard position. I'm trying to find one that just doesn't fit. And Nash's dribble style is even okay. Curry's is okay. Where they'll look, say, at stats and say Westbrook. They'll go and get themselves a Westbrook. Russell Westbrook dribble style is terrible. So Westbrook, with dribble style, basically, it's just the way they move. It's their movement. So he suddenly gets speed, which feels like it's in the 80s. Even with half quick for 796 speed. So Westbrook can't really shoot. He can't create either, and he can't dunk. If you got a bad dribble style, you're not gonna be able to dunk. So something like a Westbrook should always be just a no-go. So for me personally, the guy that I like to run is Marcus Smart. It's Marcus Smart, but if you want something different, that's fine. Another perfect player to run, you can run a Payton. If you're on a budget, there are some decent players to run. If you want just flat out score, you can run a Jalen Suggs. But I think personally with the likes of Smart, with Snow, it's probably better to go defensive on the point guard position. Because if you go offensive on the 2 guard, like with someone like a Zach LaVine, it just means a little bit more that because they're taller, they're going to be a little bit defender than putting a 6-foot tall guy at point guard. They're not going to be exposed easily. So then at the 2 guard position, if you are on a top budget, most like the top guys like Kobe, like Clay, like Harden, those guys all play defense and they all are able to create. Someone that I would say never go for is Ginobili. He's not as bad as I initially thought he was. He's not very good. He's not great. He's honestly not great. I have the card. He's honestly not very good. But if you want to go a kind of all-out defense, the best guys for me in terms of all-out defense that I've used are Eddie Jones is really good for all-out defense. And then Caruso is good for all-out defense. And all these guys can shoot the ball, obviously. If a player can't shoot the ball and they're not a center, you just don't ever use them. Just a heads up. If they have less than a 75 3 ball and their name's not Giannis Antetokounmpo and they're not a center, don't ever use them. Or you can go full-on 3-and-D like Danny Green. If you're on the token market, or if you're getting Doug Collins and you go with that, Doug Collins works as well. Or if you happen to have this old James Harden or the Diamond James Harden as a creator, he works perfectly fine as well. But let's just go 3 and D. You have the exact same thing for small forwards and shooting guards. If you want to go 3 and D, that's perfectly fine. You just need somebody that can create on your team. So with this starting lineup right now, there's a little bit lacking in the offensive end because Marcus Smart's my main offensive option. But he can shoot a little bit, so he's okay. At the 2, so this is where I think, for example, if you decide to run small forward, at the small forward position, this is what I will always say is small forward position, 3 and D. If they can shoot from deep, it's better. But literally, play defense, shoot the 3. That's all they need to do. Chris Mullin works. Heck, even Paul Pierce works. I'm gonna be honest. Bruce Bowen, perfectly fine to use. I like Mikal Bridges because he has the Hoff Interceptor badge. But for me, the Hoff Interceptor badge is the most important badge in the game. But for most people starting out, they're not really going to be able to get themselves into Hoff Interceptor situations. So I wouldn't be too bogged down on that. But the badges that you need on your small forward, literally, you need clamps, and things like catch and shoot. Like, I don't think Mikal Bridges is the best shooter, but I'm really good with his release. But guys like Bowen work really well. If you go scroll down to these rubies, Jarvis Hayes works really, really well as a budget like 3 and D wing. City Bay works really well. And these guys can all be used. And if you go and get yourself like a 3 and D wing at the 3, as well as kind of a defensive point guard, you're going to want to go for an offensive 2 guard. If you want it, well, you have a choice. You can either go all out defense or you can go offensive. So what I would advise if you're going for an offensive 2 guard is look again at these SIGs. You're going to look again at these SIGs. You're going to preferably get a player with a release that's on quick or a very quick release. You're going to want to see a quick/shifty in dribble style. And preferably you're going to want to see range. They're not going to have all of them, but the more the better. So someone like a Booker, if you are on kind of higher end, you want an offensive card, a Booker works. But just always check this to see what their release is like. Like Base Wars Riga release on quick is really good, but he has slasher dribble style, which is not as good. But again, he has range and all the shooting badges. A lot of people have success with Zach LaVine as an offensive option because even though he doesn't play defense, he gets quick dribble style, LaVine release, which is good. A lot of people have success with, and he shoots from a little bit deep. A lot of people have success with Jalen Green as well for the same reasons. He's got quick dribble style, decent behind the back, good release, and just moves just in general well, and can shoot from deep, but isn't really going to play much defense. But they're big enough that they're not that much of a liability on defense. Like Jalen Green's not that much of a liability because of his size. So that's one of the good things about him. But my favorite is Kevin Huerter, because Kevin Huerter has a behind the back called Scottie Pippen. This is the best behind the back in the game. If at any stage you see somebody and they do a behind the back animation and the ball stays really close to them and they get a sudden speed boost and your balls can't be taken off them, that behind the back is Scottie Pippen. If they start moving at like light speed through a behind the back. So all of these players are the best behind the back in the game, known as Scottie Pippen. And then he also has Trae Young release on quick, which is a quick release on quick. And he comes with quick dribble style or shifty dribble style, which is quick, shifty, 1A, 1B in terms of dribble styles. And he's also 6'7". So for me, a Huerter looks good. Again, I'm all on the Huerter hype train. If you're like really cheap. Again, this isn't the exact team you're going to run, just these types of players. Later on in the year, one of the good things is if you pick up the game in March or April, there are going to be cards for 3,000 MT that can do everything Huerter does on offense, but are good on defense. Like, from about March onwards, 90% of cards that are released, actually that's probably overshooting it, but there will be a budget card in every single batch that can do everything. So you don't need to worry too much about this. Just keep an eye on the likes of my channel, Ty's channel, and learn about the types of players. Power forwards. The least important thing for a power forward is post game. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So you're looking perfect power forward for cheap right now. I got Draymond works perfectly. What you need is, because power forward guards corners a lot of the time, and they do need to be kind of your, like, it's very rare you'll guard ball with your power forward. It's very rare you'll even guard a secondary ball handler with your power forward. So an interceptor is a good badge, or is an important badge, because they all play weak side an awful lot of the time, because a lot of the time on offense, other teams power forward stand corner. So they gotta play weak. They're gonna play weak side, which means a really important badge is interceptor. You're gonna need a long wingspan interceptor and the ability to shoot and move a little bit. They don't need to be the greatest ball handler in the world, but just a decent ability. Like post game doesn't matter. And I'm telling you, post game does not matter in a power forward. But he's got 86.3. But like someone like a Draymond's got an 86.3. He's got really solid defensive stats. He's got solid speed and really solid lateral quickness. Just an overall really good player. And again, like a Sadiq Bey does something very similar. But this is always going to be the best. But I'm telling you, this might be the best budget option. You could be watching this video in February, and I think I will be still saying just get Jonathan Isaac. Like this card, he won't be good in endgame. Don't get me wrong. Like it's not like I'm going to be telling people, oh, use Jonathan Isaac in your squad in March. There are going to be 5,000 MT cards better than Jonathan Isaac. But if you have to use Jonathan Isaac in any situation, he'll be fine. He is a 6'11", 27 gold badge player with pretty much all of the key defensive badges on gold. As well as that, he's got a couple of good shooting badges. And a release that's unquick, and he's 6'11", good jump shot, great dunk, solid ball handle, fantastic defense, decent but not spectacular speed, and great lateral quickness. Look, there's no point talking about specific players. We have got Jonathan Isaac and Wang Zhizhi. If you're looking for centers, there's a lot. Center is the one position you can go very different with. Power forward, I think you kind of have to go the same way. Small forward, just literally 3-and-D. I've never seen, I don't remember the last time I've ever seen anyone run through a small forward. If you have range on these guys, preferably, yeah, that'd be great, but it's not as important as, play defense. The only real positions where you really have any variance are centers, 2 guards, and point guards. Because some people run offensive point guards, some people run offensive 2 guards. Nowadays, with the likes of Penny, with the likes of Penny, Magic, and the post-up point guard is a thing, but I wouldn't really suggest a new player to run a post-up point guard. With the likes of Penny, Magic, and Clay and Kobe, who can kind of do both at the 2 guard position, most like high-end players are running kind of guys that are both really good defenders and great offensive players at the 2. But this is just at any budget, and unfortunately the only like guys that can do everything at the 2 are the high budget players, unless you can 40k, which isn't high budget in Harden. And at the center position, it all depends on what suits you. If you want somebody that's just a big body, if you just want a big body to roll to the basket and dunk the ball, honestly, go get yourself Ha Sung-jin. And you could be watching this video in February and be like, why would I go get myself Ha Sung-jin? Because it's highly unlikely they release another 7'3" giant with these badges, a mediocre mid-range shot, and 60 speed with an 86 block, and his player build makes him seem 7'6". Forget Yao Ming. Ha Sung-jin is that guy. Ha Sung-jin really is that guy. So if you just want a guy to just play inside, to paint mash people, and be a big body on the inside on defense, Ha Sung-jin is that perfect player. There's a lot of decent guys like Matumbo's Amethyst works as well, guys like that. But for me, just Ha Sung-jin is the best of them. He's the biggest. He's the biggest. He's actually got decent speed. He's huge. He's just huge. And then it all really depends on what you want from your center. If you want a shooting center, and like if you have infinite money, get yourself a David Robinson type player. And you're wondering, what's a David Robinson type player? Get yourself a 7 foot tall plus point guard with a 3-ball rating of 80 plus and elite interior and perimeter defense. Like D-Rob is an endgame center from NBA 2K. All 2Ks prior to 2K20. D-Rob is probably better in game than D-Rob's Galaxy Hub was in 20, and people use that at the end of the year. But yeah, and then if you are on a budget, like I very rarely suggest specific players for these, but I mean Wang Zhizhi, like Wang and Isaac, these guys are going to be like the budget duo of dreams. Like we will never forget this combo. They both came out in Mystic packs, but Wang Zhizhi shoots the ball really, really well. Like 20 gold badges. He's got like silver range extender, silver quick for his depth. He's huge. He can play mediocre in the post. 89 3-ball, good block, solid speed, solid enough lateral quickness. But it all really depends on how you play. Like if you run up and down the floor, center having 72 speed and 60 speed is too slow. Like if you want to have a fast center, someone who's going to play lanes really, really well and run up and down the floor and just be fast, honestly, none of these guys are that dude. Go and get yourself someone like a Dino Raja or similar. Again, if you really like your centers to be fast, you can always look at this website here. Man, I really wish I had some stock in this website with the amount of promoting it. But literally sort by whatever you want. So you can sort by speed. Just look at centers. Where is it? Speed. And acceleration matters. So suddenly Ben Wallace is the fastest. But you're like, okay. Ben Wallace can't shoot though. He doesn't really fit. And you sort by speed. And you sort by speed and acceleration. You're like, okay, what's speed and acceleration plus 3 point? Or does that only sort by the 1? Speed, acceleration plus 3 point. I've just sorted by 3 point. Let's just say sort by speed. And you're looking at, I've sorted by lowest speed. Haven't I? There we go. Whatever. And then you're looking, you're like, okay, yeah. Let me take a look at George Mikan. And you're like, oh, suddenly George Mikan, 86 speed. Okay, that card's more interesting. Or you're looking Bill Russell, 85 speed. And then even with, say, like a George Mikan, you're like, okay, he's got a 95 dunk. He's got a really good post game. He's got 86 speed. He's got decent lateral quickness. Okay, this card looks like he's the perfect center. But he's a little bit undersized at 6'10". But yeah, like that's the way you gotta look. You gotta like look into things a little bit more than normal if you want to have success in this game mode. Unfortunately, it is a lot about kind of studying. It is a lot about learning trends and finding similar players to fit certain styles. But yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. That is the video. It's a video I make every year. We're going over that, and that is basically how to build a perfect team at each position. Honestly, get someone who can play defense and shoot a wide open 3-pointer, 2 through 5. If you have a score, or 1 through 4, if these guys can all play defense, shoot the wide open 3-ball, and one of these 4 can create their own shot, you're going to be fine. At the 5, literally preference. You can run with a giant if you want. You can run with a pick and pop shooter. You can run with a super fast player. And then, thankfully, when it gets to like March, April, for 10,000 MT, you're going to be able to get a guy that does them all. But if you are all money spent, you've got a D-Rob right there. You've got a maybe George Mikan, he's just a little bit small. But if you have a lot of money, you've already got those guys there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.